I've been making ACT videos for a while now, and I've been getting a lot of comments saying that the math section is the part that they're most scared about. And honestly, I think the biggest reason for this is because they don't know how to prepare for it. So, what if I told you that there was a 5-step system you could use right now to prepare for the ACT? I don't care if you're watching this the night before or a month in advance. You can do these 5 steps right now to prepare for the exam. So let's start with step 1. This is a piece of advice that I think works for getting good at any kind of math, not just the ACT. Do you know that feeling when the teacher is going through a lesson and it's just going super fast and you can't keep up and you're not understanding any of it? Well, a lot of people get discouraged because they think that it's just because they're bad at math that they can't understand it. And I feel like usually that's not the case. I think that the more common reason is because the teacher is assuming that the student knows something from a previous math class, even though they've forgotten it. The truth is that the number one way to get better at math, including the ACT math section, is to make sure that you have the basics down. And on the ACT, these basic concepts are going to be in almost every single problem. So it's really important that you know them. So what are these basics? Well, just as a few examples, you should know how to solve for x in a problem, especially if it's on both sides of the equation. You should also be able to plot a point on a graph. So if I told you to plot 4, -2, would you be able to do it? Also, would you be able to graph the equation of a line, like y equals -3x plus 1? Also, are you able to simplify expressions down to get them as simple as possible? These are some of the most important algebra skills you need to have going into the ACT. And just making sure that you know these first is going to be like 10 times more helpful than just jumping right into ACT problems. Now, in my opinion, the best way to study the basics is to do hands-on practice. And one of the best places you can do that is Brilliant, who were kind enough to sponsor this video actually, so thank you. What I love about Brilliant is that it doesn't assume that you remember everything like we were just talking about. It goes step by step through everything to make sure you understand each and every concept. And it also gives you personalized practice so that you know what you need to work on. Brilliant's courses are made by world-class professors from MIT, Stanford, and Harvard, and they're made for all ages and all skill levels. So for example, if you've been struggling lately with quadratic equations, they have a whole course just on quadratic equations. Or if you've been struggling with graphing problems, for example, then you can try out the coordinate transformations course, which talks about transformations of coordinates. I mean, it's kind of in the name. If you want to start learning for free on Brilliant for a full 30 days, you can just go to brilliant.org/numbernerd, or you can scan the big QR code that's on the screen, or you can click the link in the description. And Brilliant has also given all of you a 20% off annual subscription to Premium, which gives you unlimited daily access to all of the courses on Brilliant. I think I'm going to try it right now. Oh, this is a green screen. Now, once you've gone over the basics, it's time to start getting into the test itself. But a lot of students who are studying for the ACT will just skip this step and go right to step 3. So here's why you should make sure to do this step first. What a lot of students do is they just go right into solving problems and going to find some ACT practice problems. And maybe they'll get a few right, but eventually they'll get ones that are a little too hard and they'll start to feel demotivated. So instead, before you start jumping into problems yourself, you should first watch other people do example problems. So for example, you could go onto YouTube, search up ACT example problems, and just watch some walkthroughs. Of course, my biased recommendation is to watch my videos, but other people have good ones as well. And after you've watched a few problems, just to get a feel for what the test is like, then you can start pausing the video before they work out the problems and try to work through them yourself. The goal in step 2 is not to get every single problem right, it's just to get a feel for what the test is like and to watch other people's strategies as they solve problems. Now, once you've learned the basics and watched some example problems to get a feel for the test, the next step is possibly the most important one. But even if you're already doing it, you might be doing it wrong. So here I am on the ACT website, and what you're going to want to do is go to Students and Parents, and then you're going to want to go to, wait, where are we going again? Yeah, Test Prep. That's what we're going. You want to go to Test Prep. And then here you're going to find some practice problems that you can do. So there are practice quizzes. I think those are just like little 7-question, quick little practice things. And then we also have full-length practice tests. But that doesn't mean that you have to sit there and do a full-length practice test. Our goal here is to just get you used to solving problems on your own. And you should be trying to solve these problems on your own from start to finish. Obviously, you're not going to get every single problem right. You're going to come across some hard ones. So I recommend starting with easier ones first. Usually in the full-length practice tests, the earlier numbered ones are easier than the later ones. Now, here's the most important thing. If you get a problem wrong, like for example, this one right here, you can try to work this out yourself. If you get this one wrong, you should not just move on to the next question. You need to see what the right answer was, find out why you did the problem wrong, and then come up with a takeaway that you can use for the future. Now, once you've practiced doing a few problems, you can even try it in a timed environment, just like the real test. So you don't have to do a full length test. You can, for example, do one of these 7-question quizzes in 7 minutes, because on the real test, you're going to have to do about a problem per minute. And as the test day gets closer, if you really want to try hard on your practice, then you can do a full length math section. Give yourself 50 minutes to do 45 problems. Okay, so you've learned the basics, you've watched other people do problems, and you've done your own. So what else is there to do? Well, no matter what you do for your practice, chances are you're going to come across problems that you don't know how to do. Like, let's face it, right? It's going to happen. Or you'll come across problems that you do remember how to do, but you know they're going to take a long time because you're not really sure what the fastest way is to do it. So before we go into the test, we want to make sure that we're using all of the tools that are available to us to get through questions as fast as possible. Now, I don't know if you've heard about the SAT, which is a similar test, but people always are freaking out about Desmos as the new greatest thing that's going to save people's SAT scores. And the ACT actually allows you to use Desmos as well, if you're doing the digital version. If you're doing the paper version, you can actually use a graphing calculator, which does basically exactly the same thing. So this is an example of what Desmos looks like, and I do have a full video on this if you're interested, but let me just show you pretty quickly what it is. Basically, it just allows you to plug in equations and put them on the graph. So if you needed to graph y equals 2x minus 3, well, there's the graph of y equals 2x minus 3. And you can actually use this to solve a variety of different problems. So I want to make two things clear about Desmos / your graphing calculator. Number one, you need to learn how to use it. You're not just going to pull up on test day never having used this before and then suddenly know everything about it. You should practice doing problems with Desmos or your calculator. And the second thing is that it's not a magic hack. You can't use it to solve every problem. So you probably don't want to try to rely on it for every single problem. That'll just slow you down. The truth is that Desmos is just a tool. It can help you with a lot of problems, but it's not going to save you. And by the way, make sure your graphing calculator is allowed. There are some calculators you're not allowed to bring to the ACT. So make sure you check that out. So you've gone through all 4 of these steps. And now after this, it's the day before the test. Or maybe it's already the day before the test when you're watching this, but still, let's say you've gone through the 4 steps. Here's what you need to do the night before your exam. Number 1 is kind of obvious, but get good sleep. I mean, maybe you stay up till 3 a.m. sometimes, but if you're going to do it on any night, don't do it on the night before the test. The second thing is super important. Make sure you have everything you need for the test. That means you need to have your admission ticket so you can get admitted and not kicked out. You also need your photo ID. You need to make sure you have at least 2 pencils. You never know if you bring 1 pencil, if you're writing and the lead breaks and then you sharpen it and then the lead breaks again. It happens. Make sure you bring your calculator, your approved calculator. Make sure you've checked for that. Make sure you bring some snacks if you want to for your break, for some brain food. And finally, you're allowed to bring a timing device, like a stopwatch or a watch, so you don't have to rely on the person being like, 10 minutes left. 5 minutes left. Instead, you can just always know how much time you have left. So you're allowed to bring that to the test. Just make sure it doesn't make any noise or beeping sounds. And finally, if you want to, maybe do a few practice problems the night before, just as a good refresher and maybe a confidence booster. And with that, you now have your 5-step guide to getting a 36 on the math section. So if you're ready to get started on your journey, then your ticket to step number 1 is right here. Except instead of a ticket, it's a video that you can watch. Sorry to confuse you. We don't actually give out tickets. We can't afford that, even with a sponsor. Oh yeah, make sure to use Brilliant if you want to do step 1 really well. Okay, I'm going to stop talking now. Bye.